Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Today I am going to be doing a book unhaul. I haven't done a book unhaul in I think almost exactly a year, because the last one that I did was right at the beginning of quarantine, and it was like a huge unhaul. I unhauled like 60 plus books, so I don't have a whole lot of books in this unhaul. I think I have between like 15 to 20 books that I'm getting rid of, but that's because I haven't been doing as much book buying since the majority of my book buying came from library book sales. And I don't know how it is like in other places in the US or across the globe, but our libraries are still closed. So we haven't had a book sale in over a year, and thusly I've severely cut down on my book buying. As per usual, I have to do the disclaimer. If one of these books is your favorite book, do not take offense to the fact that I am unhauling it. I have nothing against you. I probably don't even have anything against the book or the author or anything like that. I don't know why this is the one video where everybody forgets how reading tastes work, but yeah, that's what the majority of these books are. Some of them I haven't even read, and I just have kind of lost interest, and I don't feel like picking them up anymore. Also, there are a couple of books on here, there's probably like 5 books, where I'm kind of torn as to whether I want to get rid of them or not. So if you can give me a good enough reason to not get rid of some of these books, then I will gladly keep them and or give them a second chance. So that is actually the first book on our list, is The Luckiest Girl Alive. This is a thriller book that was popular several years ago, and it wasn't like super popular. Like, I only probably heard a handful of people talk about it, but I got it secondhand, and I tried to read it a couple of months ago. I think I read like the first chapter, and I just wasn't jiving with the writing. But if you think this book is actually worth the read and I should just push through it, then let me know, and I will gladly do that. Next up, we have Message in a Bottle by Nicholas Sparks. Now, don't get me wrong, A Walk to Remember still remains to be one of my all-time favorite books. It's still a 5 out of 5 star read. This book, however, was not. I found it to be slightly problematic and just overall really boring and cheesy and not in a good way, so that's gonna go. Next up we have, and this is probably one of the most controversial ones that I have in this book stack, and that is A Man Called Uwe, I think is how you pronounce it, by Frederick Bachman. Now, I wanted to read a Frederick Bachman book because so many people like love him. Like, he's some people's favorite authors. But for me, it's just not my kind of story. Like, it's a very nice, sweet kind of story. I can appreciate it for what it was, but it's not my kind of book. So I'm gonna pass it along to somebody else who I think will enjoy it a lot more than I did. Next up, we have another book that I'm kind of on the fence as to whether I want to keep it or not, and that is Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. This book was sent to me for review, and I read it, I reviewed it, and I did like it, but I don't know if I liked it enough to keep it. So I'm still kind of on the fence as to whether I'm gonna keep this book or not, but we'll see. I don't know if this author has any other books, because I think I might try and pick up one of her other books if she has any, and if I like that one, then I might keep them just because I like to have like an author's full collection, if that makes sense. And we kind of have the same situation with this next book, which is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. This is another thriller book that I liked, but I don't know if I liked it enough to keep it. So I think I might check out the Netflix TV show just to kind of refresh my memory on this book, and maybe if I enjoy the Netflix show, I'll want to keep the book. That seems like a really weird reason to keep a book, but that's how my brain is working at the moment. This video is turning into a disaster because like the next book that I just picked up, I was like, maybe I don't want to get rid of this. Maybe I do want to keep it. So suddenly this isn't a book unhaul, and this is try your best to convince me in the comments to keep all of these books, because now I'm like on the fence about everything. But the next book that I had on my list that now I'm considering keeping is Van Gogh by Melissa McQuillan, or Van Gogh, however you want to pronounce it. Both of which are incorrect. I do actually know how to pronounce his name, I just don't know how to actually make that noise with my throat. But this is just a nonfiction book about his work and I think his life, but it features a whole bunch of his paintings, which is initially why I bought it, because I actually love his artwork. Everybody I know thinks that it's ugly, but I love Van Gogh's work. So I don't think I'll ever actually read this book, but I think I might keep it just as like a coffee table book because I just like his artwork. So now I'm conflicted, and this video is turning into a disaster. Next up we have Star Wars: A New Hope, The Princess, the Scoundrel, and the Farm Boy by Alexandra Bracken. This is a book that I did actually read and I did enjoy it, but it's nothing special. It's just an adaptation of the movie told from the 3 different perspectives. So those aren't my favorite kind of Star Wars books to read. Like, I'd rather read books that haven't been made into the movies. Like, I want to consume like new stories, if that makes sense. So I liked it, but not enough to hold on to it, and it is a part of the trilogy, obviously, and I don't foresee myself ever picking up the other books because I can just watch the movies, you know? Then we've got one more Star Wars book on here, and that is Jedi Trial, a Clone Wars novel by David Sherman and Dan Craig. This is a Clone Wars novel, obviously, and I don't think it's a part of the canon anymore, so I'm trying to be more selective with what books I pick up that aren't canon, and I just have so many Star Wars books to read at this point. I don't read them super often, so I'm just trying to be selective, and I'm going to be moving soon, which is the reason for this book haul, because carrying books to a new place just seems like not a good time. Next up, we have Sunrise Cabin by Stacey Donovan. This is a Hallmark Channel novel, which I thought maybe I would enjoy reading these because even though I don't like Hallmark Channel movies, they're like my least favorite things to watch ever, no offense if they're your favorite, but I thought sometimes I enjoy them in like book form, hence like things like Nicholas Sparks that I will occasionally enjoy. So I picked up a couple of these. I read one, absolutely hated it, and I was like, you know what, I don't think this is for me. So I'm just gonna pass this along to my cousin who does really enjoy the Hallmark Channel, and perhaps she will enjoy that more than I do. Next up, we have Of Grave Concern by Max McCoy. This is a cozy mystery book, which I did make a good attempt to read it. It's set during the Civil War. It's about a woman who pretends to be a psychic, but then I think she ends up actually being able to, like, talk to the dead. It sounded really interesting, and I've never read from the cozy mystery genre before, but I just don't really think that mysteries are for me anymore. I definitely prefer, like, thriller books. I really need, like, suspense, edge of your seat kind of moments, which is kind of similar to the next book, The Last House Guest by Megan Miranda. This is very much a mystery book. I read it, and I did like it, but it just didn't really interest me enough to keep it on my shelves. Like I said, I think I'm kind of over the mystery genre at this point. Then we've got Tweet Cute. You're probably not surprised to see this leaving my household because I did not enjoy this book like at all. I thought it would be a really cute, like, romantic contemporary story, but I felt that it really lacked in the romance genre, so that's moving on as well. Then we've got Five Total Strangers by Natalie D. Richards. This is another book. Actually, both of these books were part of this Starbucks promotion that the Starbucks in my Barnes & Noble were doing, where if you bought anything at Starbucks, you could buy these books for $5. And I've done that twice, and I don't know if I'm going to do it again because I didn't really enjoy either of the ones that I picked up. And now I'm like, now I get why they were $5. So this was another, like, thrillery, mystery kind of book that I just didn't really enjoy. This next one is another one that I'm kind of on the fence about getting rid of because, as I mentioned earlier, I really like, when I have a, like, favorite author, I do like to have all of their books, even if there are a couple that I don't like as much. So that, like, totally goes against what I would be doing if I was to get rid of this book, but that is Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer. This is a contemporary romance book that similarly I felt kind of lacked in the romance department. I did like it better than that other book, but I just don't think I liked it enough to really keep it. And it is signed, so I already have so many other Marissa Meyer books that are also signed. By so many, I mean, like, I think 2, but that's enough for me. So I feel like it would be nice for me to pass this off to somebody else who might want a signed edition of this book, but at the same time, I'm like, I own, like, all of her work, so I don't know if I want to get rid of this one because I own it all, I've read it all. It's bothersome, I can't decide. And then we have Rainbow Rowell's Landline. This is another book that I read recently, and I did like it. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars, but like I said, I'm trying to be picky with what books that I'm keeping because it's just too much to have to bring all of this to a new place. But the reason that I kind of want to keep this one is because I absolutely love the spine. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's like gray and pink striped, and it's just a really pretty looking spine. It's kind of like 70s looking. I don't know. It's a stupid reason to keep a book, like, just because I like the spine. But I also didn't, like, hate the story. I thought it was a pretty good story. So, again, I'm kind of torn as to whether I'm going to keep this book or not. It also has the title Under the Dust Jacket. So yeah, I'm on the fence about that one also. These next two I'm not on the fence about at all because I didn't really enjoy these books at all, and that is The Conspiracy of Us by Maggie Hall. This is a book that I just didn't get out of it what I wanted. It is again another mystery book, but it's more along the lines of like National Treasure 39 Clues kind of mystery, which usually I would love, but I would much prefer to just reread the 39 Clues series than read that series. And then the final book I have to unhaul is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. This is another thriller book that I just didn't really enjoy, which is a shame because it actually did have a pretty good ending slash twist, but the first like 200 to 300 pages were just so boring and uninteresting for me, and also this author has quite a lot of controversy surrounding his name, so I think this one is gonna have to go. After all of that, I'm ending this video with 11 books that I know for sure I'm gonna be getting rid of, and 6 books that I'm still kind of on the fence about. So if you have any opinions as to whether I should keep or get rid of these books, let me know. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this unhaul. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!